What's up, Public Praise? Are y'all ready for a great show today? Let me tell y'all the lineup. I'm your man, Resurrect. And today, we're going to listen to a great author. Her name is Christina Shaw, and she wrote Confessions of a Church Girl. And then we're going to check out our man, B.FREE, who's at the movie premiere for Footprints in the Concrete. And we ain't going to leave you hanging like that. We're going to end it off with Melanie Laure, and she's going to be in our artist spotlight. So why don't y'all stick around and enjoy this episode of Public Praise.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us on Public Praise TV. I'm your host, Stephanie, and I have an amazing treat for you all tonight. We are interviewing newly published author, Christina Shaw. So welcome, Christina. We are so excited to have you here. Please tell us a little bit about your book, Love Me Better, which I can't admit, by the name, I was like, I'm sold. Confessions of a Church Girl. And growing up in the church, I really felt like I could relate to it. So tell us a little bit about the book, a little bit about yourself, and just grace us with your presence.
Wow, thank you so much, Stephanie. First, let me just start by saying thank you to you and to Public Praise and the whole team here for this opportunity. So my background, I was born and raised in the church. My father, he started pastoring when I was about 10 years old. So that meant I started teaching Sunday school and the sound system and pretty much operating in every area of ministry that you can think of. And, as I grew up and came of age, I began to really understand some of the societal pressures that get put on the church girls. So we're either considered Jezebels or we're, polypurebred and untouchable. And no one really was recognizing that we're human beings that are empowered by our faith in God and the Holy Spirit. So I decided as I came of age and started, wanting to find love and wanting to find that one guy that I could be happy with, I went through some challenges trying to navigate the waters and meet people's expectations, wanting to please God at the same time. And so this book is really a very open and honest, transparent account of what I went through behind the scenes that maybe many people wouldn't know. And so my hope is that my story will empower other women who read it.
Wow, that's amazing. I've actually read a little bit of your reviews, and one of the commentary was saying how you really went there. You were really real and transparent, and you shared your story. You shared the mistakes that you made, the misconnotations and misconceptions that you probably went through as being a church girl, growing up in a church family, and and you were real about your desire for love and romance and relationships. So what was a turning point for you when you kind of the overcoming part where you could walk away from some of those mistakes that you made to walk into what it seems like a beautiful relationship?
Oh, thank you. So I think the turning point for me was when I realized, you know how they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It was insane. It was like, I would meet someone, we would exchange phone numbers, you know how that goes, and you'd fall in love way too fast, only to end in heartbreak and disappointment. And I realized that repeating cycle of heartbreak was only making me weaker spiritually, mentally, emotionally. But I realized that I wasn't changing my behaviors and I wasn't changing the way that I needed to respond to the situations. And that left my heart very much unguarded. So I began to realize, you know what, Christina, you're never going to get to the place that you want to be as a woman of God. You're never going to have a healthy relationship when the right one does come along until you realize how to protect your heart, how to be empowered, how to love yourself, and in that, remember the unfailing love of God. And remember that sometimes we as women can feel insecure. I don't have a man, or there's so much pressure on me to be married. But when you find that security in the Lord, you kind of find a strength within Him that reveals itself in yourself, and then you can kind of end that cycle.
Right. That's powerful. And I'm sure a lot of us women are just going to be dying to read this book, especially as a woman who's gone through different mistakes myself. And what are some of the patterns and the behaviors that you found yourself continuously doing that other women can relate to?
That is a really, really great question. What some of the things that I got into in the book were sometimes we can be in a relationship in our minds,
Yep.
and none of that has really been expressed. So, you know, oh, he's taking me out to dinner, he's bringing me flowers, he's calling me, he's texting me, good morning, good night. We must be in a relationship. I must be the only one he's interested in. There could be no one else, right? Only to find out that there may have been someone else that he was pursuing or interested in, and maybe I didn't end up being the one for them. And so some of those kind of having these conversations, reading between lines that weren't there, those were some of the things that I kind of fell into a repetitious cycle of having these expectations that were, you know, I'm not going to call them unrealistic, because if you consider yourself a queen, you deserve nothing less than a king.
Yes.
But some of the expectations that we would put on early in a relationship, early in getting to know someone, can leave you open for disappointment. And this may seem a little cynical, but someone once said to me, if you lower your expectations, you'll be pleasantly surprised. And that's not to say lower your standards at all, but that is to say that if you learn to seek your contentment and have your expectations satisfied in God, then you'll be pleasantly surprised by anything that anyone else does extra for you.
Wow, that's already, I have no comments, but tell me, what's your favorite part of the book? What's your favorite chapter, your favorite moment, the favorite?
I have to say, and of course I'm biased, but my favorite part in the book is the happy ending. My favorite part in the book is the place where God matched me with the best, greatest man that I could ever have been with. I mean, literally, you know the scripture that talks about God doing exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask or think. Well, that's my fiance, Marcus. You know, after all of the pain and the loss, and in the book I talk about how I lost my father. I was 25 and my father passed away, and it was devastating because he was my dad, he was my father, he was my rock, he was my pastor. So I lost a lot when I lost him, and Marcus and I had only been together a few months at the time, and he stayed with me through all of that. So my favorite part of the book is the part that lets women know there is hope. He is out there. And so that, you know, our proposal, everything, it feels like a fairy tale. I still can't really believe it. Sometimes I have to pinch myself and say, is he really here? You know? So that's my favorite part.
That's amazing. I'm very inspired by your story, and you know, we're gonna wrap it up, and I wish we can continue because I have so many more questions. But one thing that I've seen a lot of our generation of women just really seeking and really pouring into their hearts on these books on finding the right one and the one for you.
Right.
And one woman defined knowing the right one is the peace that you have. And could people find that is true with you as well in your story?
I think that's absolutely true, because in the book I talk about moments of just crippling anxiety, moments where why isn't he responding, or why is this going down, or what did I do wrong, and blaming myself. And so I was crippled by that, and I ended up enduring more than I should have, blaming myself for more than I should have. But in this, I did find peace in this relationship. And you will have moments of conflict, of course. You will have moments where you have to forgive one another, and your relationship will be strengthened through those experiences. But in addition to the peace of it, and you'll see elements of that in the book, it's finding the one that loves you the way Christ does. The one that can see your faults, your flaws, your insecurities, whatever is crazy about you. We talk about that in the book too. Them loving you through that, and you loving them through that. And when you find that person, you know you've got to keep her.
Well, thank you so much, Christina. Everybody, please check out her book, Love Me Better, Confessions of a Church Girl. It's real life on love, relationships, and just life in general. And so it has been an honor to have her here, and make sure you follow her, and we'll have all the information so you can keep up with her. So Public Praise TV will continue on. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hey, we ain't done yet. Just give us a minute and we'll be right back with some more Public Praise.
My hope is that people who read this book will know and believe it really does take courage to follow your dreams. That's what I've learned. You might be blessed with some talent, but in order to reach your goals, you have to be brave enough to keep going after them. You have to get up every day and keep pushing. I love the quote by the writer, Bo Taplin. He says, "You will not always be strong, but you can always be brave."
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, B.FREE Badgett. I'm reporting to you live, yes, right, live from the Red Carpet Experience, here with the Hope Multimedia team to celebrate their release, Footprints in the Concrete. It's about a young man named Domingo Guyton, and he talks about his story from down in the dirty gutters all the way up to where God has brought him to. So we're here tonight. We're going to be talking to some people about their experiences with Domingo and just what they think about the movie. So stay tuned. More coming up right here on Public Praise. And I am here with the man behind the mission, the man behind the message, Mr. Domingo Guyton. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing very well, Brother Badgett. How you doing?
Good, good. Can you tell me how we got to this place with Footprints in the Concrete, Hope Multimedia, and this production that you're doing tonight?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. When the Lord saved my life in 2003, began walking in 2004, and then probably around 2007, just said, wow, I would love to tell this story. And so we began the process then, and you know, I got married, had children, life happened, and so I just kind of tucked it away and then opened it back up in 2014.
So why do you feel like this story, your story, is important for the culture of African Americans, as men, as Christians? Why do you feel like this story is important for people to know about?
This story is important because there's so many other stories that are, all of us have important stories, and people aren't telling them, and a lot of these stories are going to the grave, and people are ashamed or they're afraid to talk about things that happened in their past. So I'm just, you know, using myself as an example that, you know, once you're free in Christ, you should be able to talk about where he brought you from, because other people need to hear that inspiration. So I'm hoping that folks will look at it saying, wow, he really opened up and really told his story. I feel I can do the same thing.
And immediately went to the studio and started working on the album.
I'm here with my man DJ Triple Threat. What did you think of the movie, my man?
I thought the film was very well done, well edited, very encouraging. It was raw, but it needed to be raw for a reason, to get his life story and the impact of his life story out to the masses.
Oh man, I was so inspired by Domingo and his story. I've known him for a few years, but just to have his past revealed like that on screen, and how he became the man he is today, and his path through finding God was just inspiring to help me even tell my story, and it should be inspiring for everybody else to tell their story of redemption, to show that God can pull you out of any situation also. The production was great, and the way it was put together was amazing.
You heard it here. We're on the red carpet, live, Footprints in the Concrete in Boston, Massachusetts.
Hey, you got about 5 minutes or maybe 2 to get a snack, and we'll be right back with more Public Praise.
He couldn't start a verse without saying F or effing.
There was one about women, and I said, Domingo, would your mother listen to this? Would your uncle, who is a minister, listen to this?
Yeah, I listened to the profanity, but that's not what I got out of it. I got his heart out of it.
I saw something else in Domingo. I saw God doing a turnaround in his life.
A lot of mess was going on in the streets in the late 80s and the early 90s. You know, the street had a pulse, and I loved to feel the beat of the street and the energy that came with it. And me and my boys, we were getting into a lot of mess. And as I got older, I didn't want to be in a house. I wanted to be outside. And with that came a lot of trouble. I got into an altercation, so I pulled a firearm out. I got a box of sneakers in one hand, and I got a pistol, and I'm running down the street, broad daylight.
The accusation was that he was responsible for a bullet going through a window and missing a young child by inches.
At the end of the whole trial, the judge says, the evidence proves that Domingo Guyton is guilty.
And now, here's our artist spotlight. Hey everyone, we're here in the Public Praise Studios with Melody, Laure, Christian contemporary artist, and it's just a pleasure to have you here. I heard your album earlier this week, and I am totally in love with your music, so welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, thank you for being here. So Melody, I heard that you started singing when you were like 2 years old, basically like out of the womb. How does that happen? Who got you into music?
Man. I have a very musical family.
Okay.
My mother and my father sing, and I started at 2 because my uncle told me that I was harmonizing with him, and I was only 2 years old. And then I started writing when I was 7, and then I started to sing all the time and record all of my music, and we were always around music. We prayed and sang all the time. We would harmonize with each other. Our whole family sings. So it's just in the family.
Wow. So you started writing at the age of 7.
Yes.
That is amazing. Super impressive. So I definitely love the whole creative arts, and I identify as an artist myself. And I want to hear, because every time I get in contact with an artist, I want to know what their creative process is. So when you are writing, what does that look like for you?
Well, I mean, my name is Melody, and one of the things that I'm known for is writing a good melody.
Great.
It's catchy, it's just, once you hear it, you'll never forget it. And so that's pretty much what I start with. I start with my hook. I start with the chorus, because that's really the heart of the song, and that's what people will remember. If they forget the verses, if they forget like the vamps or the bridges, they'll always remember the hook. So I always start with that, and then everything else just flows. And sometimes you have some songs where the verses come first, and then, I mean, but it all depends on, you know, what type of song it is, and that's pretty much how I write. It always starts with that hook.
So you've always been around music, you have a musical family, but outside of your family, like, who are your musical inspirations? Who inspires you to be Melody Laure?
Wow. Only one name comes to mind, and everybody knows this about me, Brandy. I mean, I love her. I mean, I've been listening to her. I mean, my family is, you know, from the church, and we're very religious people, so I never really listened to anything else but like Christian music, but the only music that I did listen to was Brandy's music. Like, I love, she is just not just an artist, she's just really, when she sings, she's very musical, and I think that's what I get, where, like, when you hear my melodies, you're gonna hear every single note, and it's just, I mean, she's the best. I mean, if I had to pick anybody, that's just her. I mean, there's plenty more, like Kiera Sheard, she's, you know, she's in the gospel realm, but like Brandy, that's my boo.
Yes, I love Brandy too. I mean, 90s kid, you gotta love
Yes.
Brandy.
Absolutely.
So definitely, and so, okay, so you've been writing for a long time, and you have this amazing song called God is in Control. Love, love, love that song. And so, you know, everybody knows that some of the best songs are written out of like real life experiences. So I want to know, and I know our viewers are like probably wondering, like, what was going on in your life when you wrote that song? Because it's so deep and so awesome.
God is in Control pretty much just sums up my whole entire life. My whole entire life. As I grew up, although my family was rooted in the church, I wanted to always be an R&B star. I've always wanted to just be like, you know, first, you know, like the biggest R&B artist out there. I looked up to Brandy. I went to Boston Arts Academy. I went to Berklee College of Music. That was my dream. But then God had other plans for me.
Yeah.
It was just a moment in my life where things just weren't looking good at all. And then he spoke to me. He told me, hey, Mel, I want you to sing for me. I want you to sing for me and tell people how I saved your life. I struggle with asthma, and it's a constant battle for me. To be somebody that sings and have issues with her lungs, you need your lungs to breathe and to sing, and so it's a constant battle, but it reminds me and it humbles me that God is in control, and that anything that I'm doing, He's the only one that can help me and do that. I don't have to worry about anything. He will provide my every need, and so that's really where that song comes from. It's through all my experiences, so many things, but God is in control is a song that really is, it means a lot to me. It really does. And when you hear the song, you can hear it's just a deep connection that I have because God gave me that song, and I'm just really happy that my album's called God is in Control.
So Melody, who's your target audience? Who are you singing to?
I want to say I sing to everybody. I believe that with the message that I have, the love of Jesus Christ, I believe everybody should be able to know about Him. So I sing or write music so that everybody can relate to it. I think it's a message that everybody should be able to relate to, and I think everybody has these issues, and why not write music that people can say, you know what, I went through that, and that's my experience too. And then they can share with somebody else, hey, you know, God is, you know, He loves me too, and this is what this song tells me. And I think just like artists like Adele, she doesn't make music for just one person. That's why she's a big artist, only because her music is universal, and I believe that the message of Jesus Christ should be universal through song. That's good. And that's really what, everybody's the audience, pretty much.
Great. Melody, it's been amazing having you on the show. It's an honor just to kind of get to know you a little bit more. So, you know, we have a live performance coming up by Melody Laure right here, so definitely stay tuned. You're in for a treat.
Hey, it's Melody Laure. Thank you so much for having me on Public Praise TV. My album, God is in Control, is available right now on iTunes and everywhere music is sold digitally. Thank you so much. Peace.
Christ, yeah, 'cause I'm exactly like Him, and now I realize that in order to save us all, Lord, you must send the ones who've been through the most. 'Cause here I am, send me, I'll go where you want me to go. It doesn't matter how near far you use me, I gotta let everybody know I will follow your word like no one did. Stand on my faith like Joseph did. Leader of men like Moses did. Please send me, I wanna be your vessel. Yeah, I'll go, 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 go. Yeah, go, 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 go. Yeah, I'll go, go, go. Here I am, ready and willing to make the sacrifice. Yeah. Whatever it takes to please you, I give you my life, Lord. Use me in a special way, Lord. I completely surrender my own to you. So here I am, send me, I'll go where you want me to go. It doesn't matter how near far you use me, I gotta let everybody know I will follow your word like no one did. Stand on my faith like Joseph did. Leader of men like Moses did. Please send me, I wanna be your vessel. Yeah, I'll go, 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 yeah. Go, 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 go. Yeah, I'll go, 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 go. Every part right here. So I'll go, Lord, wherever you send me. Faithfully I'll follow your will. fall. Also, I'll go, Lord, wherever you send me. Faithfully, I follow. Yeah, yeah. So I'll go, Lord, wherever you send me. Faithfully, I follow. Your will is what I live for. Oh, so I'll go, Lord, wherever you send me. Faithfully, I follow. Yeah. I'll follow your word like Noah did. Stand on my faith like Joseph did. Leader of men like Moses did. Please send me. Please send me. I will follow your word like Noah did. Stand on my faith like Joseph did. Leader of men like Moses did. Please send me. I wanna be your vessel. Yeah, I'll go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. Yeah. Go, 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 go. Please send me. I wanna be your vessel. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Whatever you say goes. Yeah. Wherever you say goes. Oh, I wanna go. Go, 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 go. Please send me. I wanna be your vessel.
Listen, I know you were blessed just like I was blessed. It was a great show today. And listen, if you want more of Public Praise, you got to hit us up on all of our social media. You can hit us up on Instagram, also on our YouTube page, and you need to like us on Facebook. And if you can't find any of that, you can always check out our website, publicpraisetv.com. So until next time, don't forget, you and I, we both need to be proud to proclaim and never ashamed. I'm your man, Resurrect. Bless y'all.
Control of my life, yeah, my every need, he will provide. All my trust is in him, 'cause he's in control of my life. He's in control, 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 he's in control. Savior, my heart is overwhelmed by your mercy and grace. Oh, you see all of my faults, but you love me the same. You give me security with your arms surrounding me. There's no place I'd rather be, and I know why. God is in control, God is in control, God is in control of my life. He'll never let me go, to him I give my all. God is in control of my life, yeah. My every need, he will provide. All my trust is in him, 'cause he's in control of my life. He's in control, 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 yeah, yeah.